Have you ever watched someone sell their soul in real time? That's exactly what happened on February 11th when Pam Bondi faced Congress about the Epstein Files. And let me tell you, what went down in that hearing room reveals everything you need to know about who this system actually serves. I'm talking about over 3.5 million documents, victims sitting right behind her, and an attorney general who spent 4 hours defending the indefensible. This isn't just another political scandal. This is a masterclass in how power protects power and why incremental reform is a fairy tale we need to stop believing. Let's start with the facts. Under Bondi's Department of Justice, they released millions of pages from the Jeffrey Epstein investigations, documents mandated by the Epstein Files Transparency Act that Trump himself signed in November 2025. Sounds good, right? Transparency at last. Except here's what they actually did. They failed to redact the names and explicit images of victims, the people the law was specifically designed to protect. And at the same time, they improperly redacted the names of co-conspirators, the powerful men who should have been exposed. Listen to that again. They exposed the victims and protected the predators. This was so fucking egregious that even Republicans joined Democrats in calling it out. Republican Congressman Thomas Massie, who's not exactly a progressive, said this was bigger than Watergate and demanded accountability for who made those decisions. When Bondi was pressed on this, you know what she did? She called it theatrics. When Thomas Massie asked her direct questions, she accused him of having Trump derangement syndrome. This is your attorney general, people. The person theoretically responsible for equal justice under the law. Bondi called Epstein a monster in her opening remarks. Easy words when the man is dead. But when it came time to protect his victims and expose his network, suddenly the DOJ was making inadvertent mistakes. Approximately 200,000 pages were redacted based on various privileges that conveniently shield the powerful while leaving victims exposed. This wasn't incompetence. This was the system working exactly as designed. Now let's talk about how Bondi got here. She was Florida's attorney general, then became a lobbyist, earning nearly $3 million in consulting fees. She was one of Trump's defense lawyers during his first impeachment. By 2024, she was leading the legal arm of the Trump-aligned America First Policy Institute. This is the revolving door in action. You protect power when it needs protecting, and you're rewarded with positions, paychecks, and more power. When Matt Gaetz' nomination exploded, Trump immediately pivoted to Bondi. She was confirmed by the Senate 54-46 on February 4th, 2025, and sworn in the next day. Now, you want to know what Bondi did on her first day as Attorney General? She shut down the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force, the unit investigating foreign interference in U.S. elections. She shut down the DOJ's Task Force Kleptocapture, the unit tracking Russian oligarchs. She cut back enforcement of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, the law requiring foreign lobbyists to register. Notice a pattern? Every single one of those actions makes it easier for foreign money and influence to flow into American politics. Every single one makes it harder to hold the powerful accountable. During the hearing, Jasmine Crockett nailed it. Bondi values fealty to the president over the Constitution. Throughout the hearing, Bondi dodged questions by praising Trump, at one point calling him the greatest president in American history. This is what happens in a pay-to-play system. Loyalty is the only currency that matters. You're not hired to uphold the law. You're hired to be a human firewall for the billionaire class. Now, while all this Epstein drama was unfolding, Bondi's DOJ was busy with something else, attacking voting rights. In late January, the FBI conducted an unprecedented raid on a Fulton County election facility in Georgia, based on debunked conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. The same day, Bondi personally demanded access to Minnesota's voter records, appearing to tie the DOJ's request for state data to Trump's immigration enforcement operations. Election officials across the country called it an extortion attempt and an affront to states' constitutional authority. A federal judge later said the DOJ could no longer be trusted. So let me make sure I understand this. The Department of Justice has unlimited resources to raid election offices based on conspiracy theories. They have unlimited resources to demand state voter rolls. They have unlimited resources to protect billionaire predators by improperly redacting documents. But they don't have the resources to properly redact victims' names. They don't have the resources to expose Epstein's co-conspirators. They don't have the resources to uphold the very law that Trump signed requiring transparency. This is manufactured scarcity and manufactured abundance. Scarcity when it comes to protecting victims and preserving democracy. Abundance when it comes to protecting power and suppressing votes. Now, here's what they don't want you to understand. While the state mobilizes infinite resources to protect billionaire predators, it uses manufactured scarcity to keep the rest of us in a constant state of insecurity. We're told there's no money for healthcare, no money for affordable housing, no money for education. But there's always money for corporate welfare, billionaire tax avoidance, wars, and yes, covering up for men like Jeffrey Epstein, who had connections to presidents, princes, and CEOs. Income inequality in America isn't an accident. It's the mechanism they use to transfer wealth upward while keeping you too tired, too broke, and too distracted to fight back. While Bondi makes over $200,000 a year as Attorney General, she sold over $1 million in Trump media stock in May 2025. This is the revolving door paying dividends. Protect power today, cash out tomorrow. The system wants us focused on the legal jargon, the procedural debates, the inadvertent mistakes. Meanwhile, the rules simply don't apply to the people who own the game. This exploitation doesn't stop at our borders either. The same system that bleeds you at home is projecting imperialism abroad. Look at Palestine. Look at the provocations with Iran and the legal attacks on Lebanon. Look at where our tax dollars actually go. The billions sent to fund Israel's colonial project in Palestine are resources drained directly from your community. That's global class warfare, not foreign policy. The U.S. backs Israel's supremacist and colonial aspirations because imperialism abroad and exploitation at home are two sides of the same coin. While Bondi's DOJ protects Epstein's network and raids election offices, the military budget keeps growing. While they tell us there's no money for insulin or cancer treatment, there's unlimited money for bombs and occupation. This is the billionaire firewall at work globally. The same people who benefit from exploitation at home benefit from imperialism abroad. And the same institutions, the DOJ, the FBI, the military, serve as enforcers for this system. Now, as a father to a teenage daughter, this isn't just abstract theory for me. The commodification of women, the victimization we saw in the Epstein case, the targeting of young people with toxic ideologies, these are features of this system, not bugs. They want us divided by manosphere grifters and gender wars so we don't unite against the billionaire class. They want us fighting each other over bathrooms and pronouns while they rob us blind and protect predators. Capitalism benefits from our division. Every hour we spend fighting each other is an hour we're not organizing against them. We have to stop asking, why is the system broken? It isn't. It's working perfectly for the people who own it. Pam Bondi isn't failing at her job, she's succeeding. Her job isn't to deliver justice, it's to protect power. The improper redactions aren't mistakes, they're the mission. The voter suppression isn't a side project, it's central to maintaining control. This is why incremental reform is a fairy tale. You can't vote your way out of a system that treats your body as a commodity, your vote as a threat, and your children's future as collateral damage. Real change requires fundamental transformation, not tweaking the system, but building a new one that doesn't run on exploitation, imperialism, and protecting predators. Now, everything I just laid out for you, from the Epstein Files to voter suppression to imperialism abroad, it all connects. The Pam Bondi hearing on February 11th wasn't an isolated scandal. It was a window into how the entire system operates. Now, you and I are building a politically educated community that understands these systemic causes, not just what happened, but why it happened. Not just who's to blame, but what structures enable them. Stop looking at the distractions and look at the design. The billionaire firewall is real. From redacted documents to raided election offices, from Palestine to your paycheck, the same forces are at work. But here's the thing, they need our compliance. They need our division. They need us to believe that reform is possible within their system. We don't have to give them any of that. If this analysis connects the dots you've been trying to understand, subscribe to my channel for more videos breaking down how power actually works. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and most importantly, get it organized in your community. Because anger without organization is just noise, but organized anger, that's how systems fall.